Okay, I'm just making sure I have my right thing. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Our call to order is happening now. Call to order. And then attendance. Tyler Crook, here. Jennifer Eccles.
Here.
Capola.
Excused absence.
Tracy. Not here. Emily Sims.
Here.
Kat Lundquist.
Here.
Robin Onstadt. Not here. Counselor Hernandez. Not here. Sarah Frost.
I am here.
Crystal Stevens.
Here.
Any other guests in the audience tonight?
Bridget. Just Bridget.
Bridget. All right, are there any changes or additions to the agenda for tonight? No. Okay. Would anyone like to motion to approve the minutes and notes for last month's meeting?
I will motion to approve the minutes for last month's meeting.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
Approved. I need a gavel.
Yeah.
You do. I'll work on it. Hey, name term improvement. Okay.
One step.
Now together.
Okay, and this month we do not have any presentations, so we can move right on to reports. Sarah, for library director reports.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. And it's to give you all. Oh, these. One of these. It's the final draft of the summer reading program event. I will get this emailed to you also, Kat. But we have movie nights at the library, which was the youth grant from Polk County, and we have teens signed up. They picked movies, clear going in, through fall and winter even. So we'll have movie nights here for quite some time, and they will be volunteering, hopefully, if all goes well, to actually host the movie nights as well. Summer Splash series is coming back. So what this is it kind of came to be last summer, where we learned that the school district was only able to serve meals Monday through Thursday for their free lunch program, and it would only be for approximately 6 weeks. So starting in mid-June and then going through the end of July. So the library last year, I was able to get a quick $400 to help pay for the library to do meals on Friday at the Tina Miller Park, to help kind of offset all the kiddos who wouldn't have that free lunch option. By the end of the summer, we served almost, I think, what did I say, 160 meals to kids just through our program. So this year I reached out to the school district, and again, they're only doing Monday through Thursday, mid-June through the end of July. So the library is going to pick up Friday again. And then in August, we're going to do Tuesday and Friday for the Summer Splash series. I was able to secure that $400 again through the service integration team for Polk County. And then the city will help with a little bit of that funding. And so will the Tina Miller Youth Center / Civic Club will help a little bit too. So between all of our teams, we should be able to knock out probably over 200 meals this summer for kiddos. And then we have our astronomy stargazing nights that we'll be doing, and art and science, which is Kim Hamblin's place between Sheridan and Willamina. She's offered her space for our astronomy club for stargazing again. So we've finalized that as well. And yeah, so that's the big things for our library club or library program this summer, as well as some other fun stuff coming on the back there. So wanted to give you guys a chance to see what we're doing, and if you guys are around, I would love to see your faces at any of our programs, or if you want to volunteer to help at any of our programs, I definitely would welcome that as well. And that's summer reading program. My schedule will not be consistent this summer. Carla's will. So the library will still stay open Monday through Thursday, 11 to 5. But I will have a lot of Saturdays I'm working and Sundays I'm working. So I will not be here consistently. But Carla has my schedule if anybody's looking for me. So.
All right.
Questions about the programs or anything?
Will the library hours be extending? We talked about that eventually, when Carla's back full time, that eventually we talk about library hours like being different. Will that happen like in the fall maybe, or what, any time?
Nope.
Nope.
And there's a number of reasons for that.
I'm not judging you.
But no, it's good. It's a good question, and it's people ask, right? They want to know, like, can the library be open more?
Right.
And ultimately, especially like with my schedule being what it's going to be this summer, I can't guarantee two of us consistently being here together. And then it just never fills in the fall and winter. Then it starts getting dark, and none of us want to be here after dark. So it just starts feeling really unsafe walking to the car sometimes at night. So quite honestly, I think we're just going to stick to that 11 to 5 for as long as Carla and I are working at our hours.
And that's Monday through Thursday.
Yeah, Monday through Thursday. But what's nice is we're offering additional programming outside that. So yes. I'll be here, and anytime I'm here, I never deny anyone services too. Right. So, which is nice. So people may not be coming thinking that they're going to come to a program. They're looking because they see that the library is active and they want to utilize the library. And we always offer services when we're here and utilizing the library in some capacity too. So those Saturdays and Sundays I'm here will be the same. Gotcha. So in a way, we're kind of extending hours, but in a different way. So, so that's my summer reading program update. Any other questions? That's a good question.
No.
I know you all want to hear me talk more. So homelessness response. We really, so I think I've shared maybe, so I'm on a focus group for Polk County that talks specifically about rural Polk County homelessness. Our group has identified, named itself Paths, Partners Aligned Towards Housing Solutions, and we're continuing to meet, but I will be going to those meetings less for the summer because I'll be preoccupied with other stuff. Our code enforcement, Mardette, has agreed to step in and attend those meetings for me for the next several months. But we have been talking about housing opportunities in Dallas and in Monmouth, and there's some things in the works to provide maybe some additional housing that people would be able to go to. So I know it's still not local, but it's more local than going to Newburgh or to Salem. So there are some things happening there. And for here in the Willamina area, I'm really trying to work with our West Valley partners, so Sheridan and Grand Ronde, to focus more on what emergency shelter services looks like for the West Valley, specifically during cold winter events, as the primary focal point for this upcoming winter. And our next community conversation is in June, Thursday the 8th. Thank you. Some of you were on that email thread. So, and we'll be talking about, so the idea is the shelter that runs in Falls City. A couple of their host volunteers will come to that meeting and be able to speak to what it means to be a volunteer and have a shelter open, and what really is expected of the volunteers and what that really looks like for a much smaller community, because it's not going to be the same as it is in our larger communities in rural Polk County. So they'll be here. There's funding that's been applied for that could potentially be available to help fund equipment and supplies for emergency pop-up shelters, and then getting enough community partners to that meeting to ask questions of our host volunteers will be really the goal, so that they can be encouraged to want to volunteer to help with those things, because it's going to take volunteers and it's going to take the entire community, because we just don't have the resources or the capacity to staff something like that. Nobody does. So it'll really take all of our groups. So that's where we're at with that, but that will probably tail off a little bit. I'm hoping to get like good momentum in the June meeting, knowing that I won't have a lot of time to commit to it in July and August. And winter season will be shortly after that. So because the cold winter season for shelters is November through March. Questions?
The hot winter?
Just our normal city services that are open and available during the day. So we do see people who come into the library during our service hours if it's hot. And in a lot of communities, the public libraries have kind of become that cooling space. What I find really interesting and challenging is these hot weather events want to happen on the weekend. I don't know what that's about. Not make it easy.
Yeah.
So, and then of course too, you know, the big concern will be in September when we face that high heat, high wind event that historically has been happening, and what that means for any power outages and or how to serve the public during that time, which we did last year. But again, it's hard when you have no power, because it's not like this is a good place to bring people into when there's no power, and we don't have any generated run buildings in the city that's available for use. So those are the things when we think about sustainability that, you know, we'll look at and we need to look at, but it's not anything we have solutions for right now. Luckily, there's transportation services available to Sheridan and Grand Ronge too. So we really have to rely on our partners during those events. So. Yeah. And then volunteer opportunities. I wanted to invite you all to be a part of the fun this summer. But the big event we have coming up is National Night Out, Tuesday, August 1st. And I am the volunteer recruitment behind that event. So if any of you would be interested in helping, at that event, please let me know. We have a pre-planning meeting. Well, we've had one, and our team has a second one this month. And then after that, we'll really start recruiting so that I can hopefully have that all dialed in the month of June. So I don't have to worry about the volunteer piece in the month of July. But there's everything from supervising bounce houses, serving popcorn, serving snow cones, supervising library games. Like there's a lot of fun things that happen at that event, and it's big, and there's a lot of people, and there will be a lot more people, and too many hot dogs.
What is the event about?
So many hot dogs. National Night Out is a nationwide event, and it was created to really help bridge that gap and build relationships between community and police. And it's really evolved over time. And for our community, we use it as an opportunity to focus on all of our emergency services and build relationships with all of them. So last year we had Sheridan Fire, Confederated Tribes, West Valley, our Yamhill County Sheriff's Office. And then they were grilling, they were getting dunked. It's a lot of fun, and it's very engaging for the kids. So yeah.
Oh, can you tell me the date again?
Tuesday, August 1st. Yeah. So that's my report.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sarah.
You're so welcome.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yes.
All right. Are there any library board member reports? I don't think there are. No. Okay. There's no continuing business, so we're on to new business. first thing is the library facility committee merged with fundraising committee motion. And we talked about this a little bit last month about taking the new library facility and rolling it into the fundraising committee because 99% of the work is overlapped. Hopefully everyone had a chance to think about that. And if anybody wants to motion for that, you're welcome to. Or if anyone wants to, you know, say no, we can do that, please do.
I will motion to make a formal request to the fundraising committee to add a library facility planning under their scope.
Excellent. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Emily. Passed. We will do that then. That'll make things much simpler. That was quick. Okay, the next thing. The collection development policy review. So Sarah sent out the policy review document a couple weeks ago, and then again a couple days ago. And this, so the question is, should the library board create a committee to review and update as necessary the collection development policy for board year 23 to 24?
I will motion that the library board create a committee to review and update as necessary the collection development policy for board year 2023 to 2024.
Okay, then do we have a second?
Second that is well.
All right. Then that is passed. I guess the next thing to do then is to say who wants to be on that committee.
And we can, Chair, we can push that till next month as well, since we've got one more meeting, if you would like, to give people an opportunity to think about it. And for feedback, I was talking with Carla today, and so when this policy was written, these policies tend to take a lens from the librarian's view. And my hope is that our library board can look at this policy through the lens of a patron. And what is it easy to understand? Or if I have concerns, are they easily addressed? And that's really the goal that I would like to see come from reviewing the policy. When this policy was approved in 2019, I took the McMinnville policy at the time and just kind of catered it to our library. But a lot has changed over the years since then. And it's definitely worth cleaning up, I guess, and making it so that people can clearly understand how we choose our collection, why we choose our collection, and or if somebody has a issue with our collection or would like to recommend for our collection. So that is the goal in reviewing the collection development policy.
Yeah, and when I was going over it, I actually didn't get to it until last night, but I got over it twice since then. But I was going over it, I thought it was like, I think the document has all of the stuff in there. And I think it's pretty solid. It is a little bit, it is hard to figure out exactly like if somebody wanted to challenge a book, what criteria that would be used to decide if the book should be moved to a different collection or if it should be taken out of the library completely, or like it's not entirely clear what that process looks like. And at the same time, like maybe I'm just speaking personally, I wouldn't really want the document to be like, here's the steps to take to get us to definitely get rid of a book, you know, but at the same time, I think there needs to be clear that like how a book would be in the collection inappropriately. Yeah.
Yes.
So it seems like, I think it might be a lot of work, but it's also mostly done already. So next month we'll form the committee.
How many people need to be on the committee?
I think that could be up to the library board to decide, on how many people it would take to review the document and make suggested changes to bring back to the library board. And I know that it seems odd including Newburgh's policy and the documents to review, but their policy has stood up to most of the challenges in CCRLS, with nothing going further than at the library. So that's why I included their policy. So I'll put it on the agenda for next month.
Okay, excellent. And then the last thing we have to vote on today is the First Amendment audits at public libraries. Can you give us a kind of overview of that?
I would love to. So what this is, and it's been happening for a long time, but there, over the years, have been an uptick. And in library land, when I'm following these discussions and threads, basically what happens is people will enter the public library space and they will be filming. And the idea is to agitate the staff and them getting it on film. Basically, that's the underlying part of it. I mean, obviously they're coming in with challenges to the library and trying to poke the bear. But what that means is we don't have, nor have we had a good policy for guidelines for photography and filming inside the library. So it is a public space, so people can. So then what needs to happen is I need to have training for any staff or volunteers who are ever on site, and it's on my list of things to do and how to best respond if that were to ever be a thing. But we can also protect the privacy of our patrons and limit the kind of photography and filming happening inside of a public space. So it's up to this library board to review and make recommendations for policy. So I'm bringing it to the board as a request that you request that we make the policy so that it can go through all the proper channels so that we have it as protection, basically.
That sounds good. Yeah, in general, it seems like a really good idea to want to make it so people are not photographed in the library unless it's consensual.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as a privacy thing. So would anybody like to motion that we request staff to prepare a photography film policy for library board review?
I will motion that we request staff to prepare a photography filming policy for library board review.
Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you.
You're going to just rocking and rolling over there.
Yeah.
Don't know things.
Do we have any public input today?
Do you have public input?
We are having a cleanup day, a citywide cleanup day, and we need volunteers for June 10th. So vehicles, people, so if you know any groups, it will be 8 to 2, and the vehicle request is for people who can't get out of their home to dump the items that they're trying to get rid of, or they don't have a vehicle. One, they're not mobile enough, and 2, they don't have a vehicle. So the request will be that if they have items, we'll put them on the side of the road. People will pick them up and dump them for them. And then that will happen from 8 to noon, and the rest of the city cleanup day will be from 8 to 2. But we have limited space for that, but we do have some people in the community that need some extra support. So if you don't have anything to do on Saturday, June 10th, we'll have coffee and donuts and we'll feed you lunch.
That's what we could put on the Facebook, the library Facebook.
Yeah, did the city do a social media post? Okay, I can just share it then.
Yeah. Christine updated it today with information.
I don't have to do all the city social media anymore. So person for that now, that we should all celebrate.
Yes, yes.
All right, yeah, we're really cooking today. Any announcements and calendar stuff?
I have one for you. So, on next month's agenda, we'll have the 2 agenda items, from new business, moving to that. We'll also have, so be thinking, of, next year's chair and co-chair, for next year's library board, year. And then also the option to recess library board, for the months of July and August. So I wanted to make sure y'all were thinking about those things before next month's meeting. And it's completely up to you if you want to recess or don't want to recess.
She has nothing to say about it.
Nothing at all. Just no. I would love for you to recess for July month.
Does the voting happen for the new, we were talking about the new chair and co-chair?
They'll choose next month, at the June meeting, if they decide to recess July and August, because August ends the board year, and September starts the new board year, for terms.
Gotcha.
I was just gonna ask if we could go back to public meeting or public input so that I can talk about July and August library board meetings.
I have to have a conversation with my boss.
Sorry. Not really.
outside.
We'll be back in 5.
One will be back, I'll be gone.
I appreciate you, boss.
All right, well, that does it. Would anyone like a motion to adjourn?
Wow.
Or do you want to keep this going? I mean.
Oh, yeah.
We got 30 more minutes.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Thank
Thank you, Emily.
Thanks,
Done.
Kat. You were so quiet over there. Do you have anything you want to say?
I successfully made it through my first term of my library science program, so I'm not a vegetable anymore. That's it. That's my own little personal victory, so.
We'll celebrate with you.
Yeah. All right, that does it.
Cool.
Pretend to gavel.
Yay.
We gotta get him again.
One of
I need
these
to get
days.
Do not give me a gavel.
you.